Well, welcome to the 8th edition of the Dromia International Sprint and Relays meeting. Coming to you from the southern suburb of Vari in the Athens area. That's the Greek capital, and it's going to be a terrific 2.25 hours as we look forward to 14 races, all sprints, hurdles and relays, as well as one magnificent long jump in which Miltiadis Tentoglou will be going in search of the Greek record. There we can see Tentoglou on your screen. Well, he's coming off the back of just a week ago, a fantastic 8:46 performance at the European Athletics Team Championships in Madrid. That was a world lead, a championship record, and Tentoglou backed it up with an 8:44 leap as well. Let's see what the fantastic Greek, who's got 2 Olympic titles, 3 world titles to his names, as well as a host of other honours as well. He's got a good field up against him. He's got some of the best Greek jumpers at the moment coming through. He's also got Luka Manyonga, the South African, who took the 2017 world title, silver medal at the 2016 Olympics. Likes of Luca Herden as well, 8:14 jumper. So there's a whole host of good opposition as well for Tentoglou. It's not just going to be a showpiece event for the great Greek long jumper. Just keep our fingers crossed. It's wonderful weather out in the municipal stadium this evening. It's around 30 degrees, but it is quite windy there. Just looking at some of the results from earlier in the evening, there was quite a strong wind on the back of some of the domestic races held before the start of this live stream. So there we have the lineup for the very first race. Man to look out for, Franco Florio, the Argentinian record holder at 10:11. Also Jan Volko in there, the Slovak record holder. He's a 10:13 man at his best. Some good Greeks as well as Animesh Kuja, the Indian record holder over 200 metres. So there we see Samueli Samuelsson. Holds the finish record at 10:12. Alongside him, Nikolitas Panagiotis. 10:31 man at best. It looks as though there's a late replacement there. One of the Turkish runners has dropped in. This is Jan Volko, former European indoor 60 metres medalist and national record holder for Slovak Republic at 10:13. Animesh Kuja, 2025 Asian Championships bronze medalist over 200 metres. Sotirios Garkanis improved to 10:26 in Madrid last week. There's Florio Franco, who I mentioned. Two-time South American under-23 medalist as well. Vasilios Mitrianathopoulos actually won the 200 metres at this meeting in 2021. And on the outside, Theodoros Frontinos. 10:34, the slowest man in the field, but it's a good field for a backup 100 metres. Garikakanis in lane 5 has improved his personal best twice in the last month, including that 10:26 in Madrid. Keep an eye on Florio in lane 6, always a quick starter. Has taken 2 60 metres medals at South American Indoor Championships. Kujur, the last to settle. That's a false start. Not immediately clear who was the transgressor. The judges poring over the screen, which will give a readout whether anyone jumped the gun. The slowest man walking back is Samuelson. Might well have been Samuelson who got the flyer. Let's see how the judges determine that. There's the very solid, very muscular looking Jan Volko in the centre of your screens, now 29 years of age. Good crowd here in the Municipal Stadium in Vari. As I said, it's in the southern suburbs of the Greek capital Athens. As they settle in once again. From the inside, Samuelson, Finland, Ozkan of Turkey, Volko, Slovak Republic, Kuja, India, Garikakanis of Greece, Florio, Argentina, Myrianthopoulos of Greece, and on the outside, Frontinos of Greece. Florio looking very relaxed. So once again they settle into their blocks for the second time of asking. It's Florio's first European race, but he's been racing all around South America since February. Once again, the B race in the men's 100 metres. And once again, they're being called up. Well, no one was penalised the first time around. There's Florio. Well, it looks as though that is the Turk, Ozkan, who's been disqualified. So he was a late replacement and the first man to depart. Once again, settling in, Samuelsson on the far right-hand side of your screen, just adjusting his blocks. Now, for the third time, the B race in the men's 100 metres. And they're away cleanly this time. Samuelsson running well. Kujar as well in lane 4. The tall Indian starting to stride away, just getting the better of Garakaganis on his outside. 10:20. That might well, if those times stand. Just waiting for the wind reading though. It was very windy in the domestic races earlier. And it could well be personal best for both Kujar and Garakaganis. Look at it again. Tall, long-striding Indian, better known as a 200-metre runner, away very quickly. Garakaganis, who ran so well for Greece at those European Athletics Team Championships, hunting him down, but can't quite get on level terms. Samuelsson, good start from the Finn on the outside in lane 1, but had to settle for third in the end. Still waiting for the result. But Kuja given us a winner in 10:20. Just waiting for the wind readings, the all-important wind readings though. You can see there how breezy it is. It's a southerly wind. That's the men for the, what they call the C final. But the fastest race come out. Still waiting for the full results and confirmation of the wind reading. You can see down there in the lower end of your screen, it's, as they're going through their paces in the long jump, it's 2.0. So with a bit of luck, they will have rode the absolute maximum legal limit of a breeze on their backs. Garakaganis there, looking very pleased with his performance. Just wondering whether he's notched up a third personal best in a month. Well, we're looking at a 0.5 metres per second wind reading on the side of the track there. Still an agonising wait. Good crowd has poured into this municipal stadium in Vari for what's now a well-established competition on the calendar, World Athletics Continental Tour Silver Meeting. I do apologise, my Greek isn't great, I can't really translate that. But if that is a legal win, that's yet another personal best for Garikaganis at 10:23. So no wind readings indicated. Kuja's time is adjusted to 10:18. Garikaganis 10:23 and Samuelson 10:28. Those wind readings are legal. That was personal best for the first two men home. Kuja of India and Garikaganis of Greece. So now, it's the third and final heat of the men's 100 metres. And a very good lineup indeed this is. Nice shots all the way down the track. Just two stands in this Vari Municipal Stadium. In the middle, in lanes 4 and 5, the two South Africans, Bradley Nkwana and Benji Richardson. But the man on the outside, we've just leapt through Simon Verhestaten, the Belgian record holder, at 10:06. There's Kayan Ozar of Turkey, 10:17 man at best. Ali Anwar El Balushi, he was third last year here in Vari. He was a 10:14 man. And there's the two very good South Africans. Bradley Nkwana, just 20 years of age, the shorter of the two, and alongside him Benji Richardson. Personal bests of 10:03 and 10:86 respectively. On their outside, Julian Wagner. Jacob Despard, 10:15 man. And Mankanta Hubladihar of India. Well, if that wind reading is legal, Animesh Kuja has just reduced the Indian record to 10:18, which pushes this man back to fourth on the Indian all-time list. Keep an eye on lanes 4 and 5, the two South Africans, Bradley Nkwana and Benji Richardson. Both men World Under-20 Championships medalists. And they're quickly away this time. And it is Richardson who's very quickly into his running. Richardson doing a fantastic job. Al Balushi, the Omani on his inside, takes second place. 10:02. Well, that smashes the previous meeting record. Indeed, Kuja reduced it by 0.08 in the previous heat, but that's absolutely taken it to the cleaners, and what an outstanding run that is from Richardson. Ran 9:86 last year in that Swiss sprint mecca of Chaux de Fonds, which is just under the 1,000 meters in altitude. Here at sea level, that's a terrific run. Equals his season's best with that 10:01. Let's just wait and see whether that's given us the official time. Away very quickly. Al Balushi coming through strongly. Just 23 years of age, the Omani. 2 lanes to the inside of Richardson. Rather disappointing run there from Nkwana, expecting a little more from the young South African, but it's given us 10:02, and it is a meeting record for Benji Richardson. I can tell you, Kuja was 10:18 at 0.5 meters per second, so it is looking as though the wind has dropped in the last 45 minutes since there was the domestic races earlier. So that has absolutely smashed Simon Hansen's mark from 12 months ago. Two women's 100-meter races, and then the long jump, which many of the fans here will have been coming definitely to see. So Richardson, just a little bit outside of his season's best. Richardson, a semi-finalist at the Olympic Games last year. I would imagine highly likely to see him in action at the World Championships coming up in Tokyo this coming September. And it's revised down to 10:01, which we saw originally on your screens before changing. And that's a personal best for Ali Anwar Al-Baroushi of Oman. Might well be an Oman record. Well, they've got him down, Jacob Despard, as Austria there. I think he might be Australian. So now we move along very quickly to the first of two races that we're streaming on this European Athletics live stream. It was earlier 100 meters as well, which had an international flavour. But just 6 women in this race from the looks of things. No, 7, just missing Mikalidou. So in lane 3 we have Bayzanor Ceylan, 11:73 for the 21-year-old. Helen Rønningen, 14 times national champion in the sprints for Norway and former Norwegian 200 meters record holder. Rafaela Spanduaki Hatsariga. Spanduaki Hatsariga winning here in 2018 and 2019. So Sia Kologlu. Kyriaki Sausi and Silmai Osifici. Turk on the outside, one of 2 Turkish runners in this race. Tension really on the women in lanes 4, 5 and 6. Rønningen, Spanduaki Hatsariga and Kologlu. Kologlu in lane 6, just 20 years of age, and set a national under-23 record while wearing Turkish colours at the European Team Championships 2nd Division in Maribor last weekend. So they're away very quickly. The diminutive figure of Rønningen battling with Spanduaki Hatsariga, but it's Hatsariga coming back for her first win at this meeting since 2019. An 11:27 for Hatsarigi. Have we got the right one there? Kologlu. That's been a bit of a shake-up of the lanes. No, it's definitely Spanduaki Hatsariga. Just double checking my start list, but it's definitely the tall Greek who's seemingly been around for a very long time. Now 31 years of age. Spanduaki Hatsariga. Could well equal her personal best, which actually dates from Vari in 2018 when she won this race at the inaugural Dromia International Sprint and Relays meeting. Running, battling all the way with the Greek right the way to the line. It's a nice win for Spanduaki Hatsariga. So 11:26, personal best. She's waited 7 years and come back to where she set a previous best, and she gets a new personal best. I'd love to know what she's saying, because I bet she's well, Spanduaki Hatsariga, part of the Greek relay teams in Madrid last weekend. And if you enjoyed Madrid, or even just want to go back and catch up what went on there, there's massive amounts of content, much of it exclusive, on the European Athletics social media channels, especially the YouTube channel, which has all sorts of highlights and replays on there. So what a great run from Spanduaki Hatsariga, improving 100 meters personal best for the first time in 7 years. So presentation of the men's long jump. So we just saw Sarantis Epeles, the young 17-year-old Greek talent, and Andreas Antanakopoulos jumped 7:51 recently in the Papaflesia meeting, which was also on the European Athletics live stream. You've seen Luvo Monyanga, now 33 years of age. Vlahovic of Serbia, alongside him Stamatonokolos, 787 man. Luca Heron, 8:14 back in 2023, and just wait for the cheers for Miltiadis Tentoglu. 2 times Olympic champion in 2021 and 2024, world champion in 2023, 3 times European champion, 3 times European indoor champion. And confirmation there, Rafaela Spanduaki Hatsariga, improving her personal best to 11:26. So now the women's main race, the top race, referred to here as the C final. So in lane 1, Ella Connolly, 11:25, The Australian sprinter. This is Maria Montt from Chile, bronze medalist at the 2025 South American Championships. She set a personal best of 11:33. Polinaki Emanuelidou. Well, she's run 11:21 at best, 11:26 last weekend in Madrid. And here's a woman who shone in Madrid. Won the B race there and finished third overall in 11:17. Minka Bishops of the Netherlands. Lena Meyer, 11:10 to her name. She ran in Regensburg 3 weeks ago. This is Sophia Jung, like Meyer, member of the Germany's gold medal winning 4x100 meter European Championships team. On the outside 2 lanes, Sukala and Viva Yenke. Yenke, very impressive young runner, just 20 years of age, 2 World Under-20 Championship medals at the last 2 World Under-20 Championships to her name. So they settle down. Connolly, Montt, Emanadilu, Bishops, Meyer, Jung, Sukala and Yenke. And it is Bishops who's got into her running very quickly, and she's starting to pull away from the rest. Bishops comes through. Oh, just look at that time. That's an absolutely stunning time. Gosh. 10:89 for Minka Bishops. Well, we knew she was in form after last weekend, but no idea that she was in sub-11 shape. I mean, it was a great start from Bishops in lane 4. Absolutely flying down this track, pulling away from the rest of the women, and it's a good field that she's leaving, trailing in her dust. Let's see if that's confirmed, because that is a jaw-dropping performance. Bishops absolutely in top form. That's one of the fastest times in Europe this year. Holds her form, looks absolutely magnificent. What a terrific run from the 22-year-old Minka Bishops. Just waiting there for confirmation, but that is an absolutely fabulous run if that time is confirmed. I don't think she can quite believe that she's run that fast. Well, that would be the second fastest time ever by a Dutch woman, behind the record of 10:81 by Daphne Schippers. She's gasping for breath there. Let's try and hear if we can hear some of the infield interview. Well, our director seems to have lost Bishops, but hopefully you can hear a little bit of what she's saying. I think it's starting to dawn now that Bishops... They've just produced something quite sensational. I'm hoping we can confirm that time, because that was quite something if it is confirmed. Well, what I can tell you is that it was rather windy. The wind did pick up, 3.2 meters per second, but 1089 is still a terrific run under any circumstances. Bishops has never run faster than that under any conditions. Stamaton Conlis. Again, just checking the wind readings there with that 8:14 effort. Jumped to personal best of 787 at the end of May. As I said in the past, the Vari meeting has got quite a reputation of wind-assisted times. Here's Luca Heron. We're trying to help you out as much as we can. We're not getting great deal of information on screen. Heron. Season's best of 794 came in Essen back at the end of May. Now, of course, inevitably, we're going to focus on Miltiadis Tentoglou. Oh, that's a big jump from Tentoglou. Starts off in familiar fashion. He's so consistent. Sometimes has a foul at the start of competitions. There was plenty to spare on the board there. Well, it's a little difficult to assess how far he went, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's around the 8:30 mark. Oh, not quite as far as that. 8:01. Still not getting the wind readings, unfortunately. Don't know whether it was legal. So this is Sarantis Zeballos. No. Young 17-year-old. Will be off to the European Under-20 Championships, which are in Tampere in Bergen. I should say. Tampere in Finland. Bergen is, of course, the destination later this month for the European Under-23 Championships. So this is the 100 meters, which combines some Paralympians with some of the top Greek runners. I think Amadulu is perhaps regretting a rather underwhelming start in that race, unfortunately. Did come home with 11.21, which will have equalled her personal best if it wasn't for the wind assistance. Finished fourth. It was a bit of a sluggish start from the Greek, who looked so great anchoring the Greek 4x100 metre relay team last week. So, Luvo Manyonga, African record holder at 8.65, but that came back in 2017. Not sure that was legal. This is his first competition outside of South Africa. No. Into the plasticine. Looks as though they're using the old school method of looking for marks in the plasticine rather than Hawkeye technology. So, Athanasius Gravalas, T11 competitor, which means he's one of the most severely visually impaired athletes, one of the best T11 athletes in the world at 10.82. There's Vlasos Mitripoulos, Philippos Georgantis, 17 years of age, we saw there very quickly. Then outside of him, Konstantinos Monfesis and Anastasios Samakoupis. The fastest man in this field, Jordi Agantas, the young 17-year-old in lane 6. And they're away cleanly this time. Good start from Gravalas. Jordi Agantas coming through strongly as well. Was only third in the recent Greek under-20 championships, but 17 years of age, was giving away 2 years to rivals. And a good run there from Georgia Gantis. Good start though from Gravalas, the Paralympian. Being helped by Dimitros Kidasafis. But it is Georgiantos who comes through from Morphesis, who's just 18 years of age himself. Nice technique. Could well see him at the European Under-20 Championships in Tampere. And a 10.51 performance for George Gantis. So that's a personal best if it's a legal wind reading. As I say, still playing with the wind readings a little bit. We had legal wind readings earlier. So, Miltiades Tentoglu, at the moment, lying in second place, in the very unusual position of lying in second place behind a compatriot. Nikolaos Stamatonikolos, 8.14 in the first round. That's a good jump from Tentoglu. Got some wind readings up on our commentator information system now. Stamatonikolos, his personal best was a legal wind, just 0.2 meters per second following. But then it switched to a 3.1 wind reading on the back of Tentoglu with his first effort. .807. Once again, wind reading's not indicated, but I'll try and keep you up to speed with how quick the gusting is down there in the Vari Olympic, in the Vari Municipal Stadium. Could say it was used as an Olympic stadium. I think it was used as a warm-up and training facility at the 2004 Olympics. So this is Alepis now. Fouled, so that's 2 fouls to his name. Possibly 3. Well, I wonder when the last time Miltiadis Tentoglu was beaten by one of his compatriots. He really has been the Greek #1 for about a decade, including all those international triumphs. This is Vlahovic of Serbia. Having a few problems with the wind gauge, although we can see there that it's back online. My apologies, that was Makalides of Cyprus. He's just posted a 7:56. Windy effort. There's a few gremlins in the results system, but they look as though they might have been ironed out. So, Manyonga, former world champion, 2 fouls so far. I think that looks like a legal effort. Finally gets a valid jump in. A South African whose personal travails have been well documented. Came back from a drug ban at the very end of last year. This is his first European meeting since returning. Spot on. Jumped 780 recently, the African record holder. 773. That was a windy 773. As you can see there on your screens, 2.4 meters per second. This is Vlahovic now on the run-up. No, pulls out of that one. No improvement for him. Opened with a windy 754. And then fouls in the second and third rounds for the Serb. Recently improved to 782. We've already seen Stamaton and Nikolos go out to 814. Huge personal best. Adding 27 centimetres to his best. There you see the full rundown. Luca Herndon. Next to jump. 783 in the previous round. There was no wind reading given for that. Bit of a technical problem. So you'll want to do a little bit better to make sure there's no dispute over the issues of the wind readings. Made the final of last year's European Championships where he finished 8th. So still 783 in the previous round is best. Getting some input from his coach who's made the trip out to Vari. Not difficult to get to Vari if you can fly into Athens. Now, going very quickly through the rounds, Tentoglu lying down in second place with 807. No wind reading indicated. He's had more than a week's rest. Oh, I don't think that's going to be an improvement either. That comes around the 8-meter mark. Well, last weekend, in the very helpful environment of Madrid's Estadio Valhermoso, went out to 8:46 in the first round and followed that up later in the competition. It's just not firing on all cylinders at the moment, Tentoglu, but we do know he can get it right. And in the long jump, that's all you need. One really good jump. Didn't even hit the board there. Good height, though, nevertheless. There's another 25 centimetres to add to whatever he got. So, 799. If it had been good on the board, might have got to around 820 and would have got the lead. It's sort of there, but it does look as though he's not quite in the same form as he showed in Madrid last week. That can all change, though, very quickly. So, Sarantis Zelepis, the Greek, just 17 years of age. A lot of attention being given to this long jump, of course, with somebody like Tentoglu in there. About to get underway with the first of 2 women's 100 metres hurdles races. Maybe we'll just see Zelepis first. Look at that. And most of these people have come to see Tentoglu. But so far, halfway through the long jump competition, there's an upset on the cards with Nikolaos Stamatonikolos leading the way with 8:14. Stamatonikolos, of course, is also only 22 years of age. That could well make him one of the medal contenders, at least on paper, when we get to Bergen later this month. Dimitris Christofis, himself a 10:50 athlete, helping his friend along. Vari, as I said, one of the best visually impaired sprinters in the world. So here's the lineup for the first of two races in the women's 100 metres hurdles. Almost entirely a Greek field, but we do have Mumita Mondal of India in there in lane 5. We also have the current Greek number 1, Sofia Kamparidou. She's alongside her, just one lane to her inside in lane 4. So just 7 lanes being used. This is Phaedra Maniudaki, 1474 for her. Elena Giasman on Toulouse. And here's Sofia Kamperidou. Greek number 2 at the moment. Improved her personal best to 13:49 in Thessaloniki back in May. Mumita Mondal, former heptathlete, but she's now focusing on her strongest events, and she's a 13:36 performer. Alconye Zaracosta, 13:67 her best, and she ran that recently. Maria Varela, 18 years of age, and on the outside, Sofia Simeonidou. 2 teenagers in the outside lanes, in lanes 7 and 8. Seen that the lane 8 is actually empty. Simeonidou doesn't start. So we've just got 6 women in this race. So they're away cleanly. The diminutive Indian very slickly over the hurdles. Kamparidou chasing her, and she's closing the gap. But Mondal racing through the line. 13:25. That'll be a personal best for the Indian. Once again, let's just check on the wind readings, but as it stands at the moment, that's the quickest she's ever run. Maybe a personal best behind her for Kamparidou as well. Well, Mondal. She's quicker between the hurdles, very tidy over the barriers as well. Kamparidou looks as though it's much harder work for her, and then a big gap back to the rest of the rivals in this first race in the women's 100 metres. Mondal, very tidy hurdler. She was a good heptathlete, around 5,500 points, but a couple of years ago decided to focus on this event. So, good racing from a whole group of Indian athletes. So, Antonakopoulos. Not sure that wasn't a foul. Let's just have a look at it again. Well, it was. Looks as though he might have got a toe over the board. lead is with his fourth attempt. It was given as 7:48. Now, Luvo Manyonga struggling a little bit. 2 fouls and then a 7:73 windy. It's a little better in the third round. Rio 2016 Olympic silver medalist. Oh, just races through. So no improvement for Manyonga, who still lies down in 4th place at the moment. We tidied up some of the wind readings now and managed to extract them from the system. Bring you up to date with that, with Tentoglu's 807, now confirmed as being a legal wind reading. So Luca Herden, 783 windy in the second round, his best effort. Yeah, getting the support of the crowd, not difficult. They're here and they're enjoying their long jumping. Chopping his stride just a little bit, but a good lift off, good jump for the man who made the European final in Rome last year. He's very fast, very compact. There's no complexities with his jumping style. Reminds you a little bit of Simon Ehammer, the Swiss long jumper, who was leading the world this year prior to last weekend at 8:34. The thing is, though, Simon Ehammer's got another pretty good 9 events to go as well. Now, just a little bit of pressure on this man. Miltiades Tentoglu, 2-time defending Olympic champion, reigning world champion, 3 times European champion. What can he do here? Ah, that's better. I think that's a bit better. It might be very close to around the 8:14 that Stamatonaikolos jumped in the first round to really throw down the gauntlet. Spot on the board as well. He was about 5 centimetres behind the board with his previous effort. Not so good foot placement on the board. Look, just that bit more determined. And he does respond when he is put under pressure, when there are challenges. And that's 796. Confirmation. Momita Mondau winning in 13:24. Sofia Kemperidou 13:49, just a fraction outside of her best. And we move on to the second race. So the meeting record, Lotta Harala, 13:03 from last year. And the Finn is in this race. This is Daphne Giorgio, personal best of 13:09. She's done 13:36 this year. Sofia Iosifidou, personal best last week in Madrid, 13:08. She's the number 1 Greek hurdler at the moment. Elisa Maria De Lazaru, back in 2017, she was 4th at the European Under-20s. Made the semis at the last 2 World Indoors and 3 World Indoor Championships. Lotta Harala, national record of 12:65 last year in Chaux de Fonds. Celeste Mouchi, heptathlete, fourth at the Commonwealth Games back in 2018, now focusing on the hurdles. Ana Maria Nestarico of Romania, 13:02 performer at best. And Lovisa Anderson, just 21 years of age, made the semi-finals of the European Championships in Rome last summer. 12:89 her best. So we've got 4 women in this field who've run under 13 seconds in their lives. 2 this year, Di Lazzaro in Troyes in France last month, and Harala in Hengelo. Di Lazzaro in lane 4, the Italian, and Harala made the Olympic semis in 5. So good start from Harala. Harala curdling very well at the moment. On her inside, Di Lazzaro now, starting to pick up the pace, starting to get up on the shoulder of the Finn, but it's going to be Harala who takes it from Di Lazzaro, and that went to form. So Harala, now 33 years of age, and she smashes her meeting record if that time is confirmed. I'm putting in a caveat because we've seen some fairly stiff breezes on the backs of these runners. That would be a season's best and a meeting record for Harala if it is confirmed as a legal wind. Well, we're looking at the long jump, which says 1.7 meters per second, so I'm guessing it is a legal wind. Looking at that replay again. Harala was away the quickest, and she was the first to rise, leading the way at the halfway point. Now Di Lazzaro starts to claw back some of the deficit, but she can't quite get on level terms, battling away off the last hurdle. But it is confirmed as a meeting record at 12:86, so it is legal for Lotte Harala. Now Manyonga, well, was that legal? No, it wasn't. So just one legal jump for Manyonga, that third round, 7:73. Luca Herden. Lying down in third place. Windy 785 in the last round. Good effort there from the German. $7.76 though, no improvement. Now, Miltiadis Tentoglu. 8:07, but at the moment he's being bested by Nicholas Stamatonolekos. $8.14 the target for the great Greek long jumper. This is coming off the back of a win last week and a world-leading mark of 8:46. But we've seen it so often that he can pull it out in the last round. wondering whether that was a foul, though. He's giving it everything. This was specially put on for him to attack the Greek record of Louis Satoumas, which goes back to 2007 at 8.66. Last year in Rome, he went so close, jumping 8.65. That moved him up to 4th on the European all-time list, behind Robert Emian, who leads with the European record 8.86. Stefan Bayer, 8.71, and then Satoumas. So, Sarantis Zelepis, his final effort, the young 17-year-old. Down in 8th place at the moment with 7.27. Shakes his head. He's got a good future ahead of him, this young man. .744 jumper. Long way behind the board. Had technical problems in the 4th round as well. So still to come, 2 men's and women's 200-meter races, and then 4x100-meter relays coming at the end of the program. Also got the men's 100 meters hurdles, which will be the next track action in about 8 minutes' time. Just looking at the final round of the men's long jump. This was Antonopoulos. 7.47 windy in the 3rd round. Not far from his legal best of 7.51. There's confirmation. 12.86 for Lotta Harala, a meeting record. And season's best for Elisa De Lazaro and Celeste Mucci behind her. Wind reading was exactly 2.0 meters per second, so those times are legal. Now, Michaelidis of Cyprus, 7.56 in the 3rd round. So that leaves the Cypriot down in 5th place at the moment. Uses the very basic hang technique. Michaelidis, just 20 years of age, so he's a man who could be going to those European under-23 championships that I've been talking about. Michaelidis just looking very carefully. Doesn't seem to be too happy with his mark. Notwithstanding that, did jump 7.56, which, although windy, was in excess of his personal best. 2.3 meters per second for Michaelidis. So now, Luvo Manyonga. Manyonga, 7.73 at the moment. His only valid jump coming in the 3rd round. That was a windy effort. 7.80 this year on the comeback trail. Well, appreciates the support of the crowd. I don't think it's going to be any improvement for him. $7.69. So 7.73 remains his best. He'll finish in 4th place. So Herden, Tentoglu, and the surprise long jump leader, Stamatonikolos, still to jump as darkness falls over Vari. Still about 30 degrees out there. 7.85. Ooh, I think that might be a foul, might get a red flag. Yeah, he's quickly out of the pit. Oh, it's very close, right on the plasticine. Well, we haven't seen yet whether the judge has raised a white or a red flag. Oh, 8.01. Season's best for Herden. And a legal wind as well of 1.3 meters per second. So we've got 3 men in this competition over 8 meters. Good quality competition, this. Conditions good. Sometimes the wind's picking up a little bit too much, but conditions still very good in Vari. And Manyonga getting the crowd behind Miltiades Tentoglu, who's the penultimate jumper to compete in Vari. I bet that doesn't happen too often in a domestic, what is essentially a domestic competition. Oh, now was that good enough to snatch back the lead from Stamatonikolos? Well, he's the man the crowd have come to see. Just looking at that replay, barely got a toe on the board. Upright, high knee lift, good hitch kicks. Does it overtake Stamatonikolos? 8.19 at the very last, once again, like he's done so often when put under pressure. He gets it back. He avoids the, I won't call it an ignominy because Stamatonikolos has jumped very well, but he's avoided the upset of losing out to a domestic rival. Well, after his foul in the second round, Stamatonikolos has been passing his previous jumps, and I don't think he's going to take his 6th and final effort. Congratulations from Manyonga and Luca Herden and the very young Sarantis Zelepis, who I'm sure has posters of Miltiades Tentoglu up on his wall. No, it's confirmed that Stamatonikolos, with that big personal best by 27 centimetres in the first round, has graciously accepted defeat and has passed his final effort. Well, that was drama right the way through to literally the very last jump. 8.19, and he needed it. And there was probably about another 19 centimetres on the board. But it I think relief is etched all over his face after that dramatic finale to the long jump. Pulls it out in the end. Miltiades Tentoglu just digging deep and going out to 8.19. Not the record that people were hoping for. Nevertheless, a win for Miltiadis Tentoglu. Now we focus our attention on the track. Here's the men's 110 metres hurdles. So, Ziakouris on the outside. $14.22, his best. On his inside, Anastasios Elopios finished third in the B race at the European Team Championships, has taken over as the Greek number one. Season's best of 13.85 recently in Hania. Sam Bennett, who's been plying his trade in the United States as a student at Texas Tech. Former European under-18 champion. Konstantinos Douvalidis, 3 times winner at this Dromia meeting. 13.33, Greek record holder. And on the outside, Elias Totolidis. 14.50 man, somewhat outclassed by the men on his inside. Totolidis. 5 men in this race. On paper, this should be a straightforward win for Sam Bennett. Personal best of 13.45 from last year's NCAA Championships. Could be pressed by Eliopoulos on his inside. And they're away cleanly. Bennett, the tall Briton in lane 5, comfortably in front at the moment. But now Eliopoulos, well, the Greek is crashing through the hurdles. He briefly challenged. And indeed, it was, in the end, a comfortable run for Sam Bennett. That 13.77. Bennett at this stage, the first to rise over the first 4 hurdles, briefly challenged by Eliopoulos for a couple of hurdles. Then the Greek starts hammering into the barriers, eventually coming home 4th. I think he crashed through just about every barrier in the second half of the race. And a good clean race, though, from Bennett. Good technique. Quick between the hurdles. Still looking really to fulfill that promise of when he won the European Under-18 title in 2018. But he's starting to come back to that sort of shape. Had a good collegiate career at Texas Tech. Douvalidis. A bit of an icon amongst the Greek hurdlers. Now 38 years of age. But the plaudits go to Sam Bennett. Not quite a meeting record. That remains in the hands of Craig Thorne from Canada. 2023, he ran 13.61. Confirmation with the very last jump of the competition. Miltiadis Tentoglu went out to 8.19 to beat Nicholas Stamatoneikolos. Personal best of 8.14. Improvement of 27 centimetres by Stamatoneikolos. So just the 200 metres and the relays to come. Two 200 metres races for both men and women, and then men's and women's 4x100 metre relays. confirmation, 13.76 for Sam Bennett. Slight adjustment on the unofficial time that we saw a moment ago. Konstantinos Duvalidis, 3 times winner here, finishing second in 2025 with a season's best of 13.95. The hurdles are cleared away. Meeting record, Albert Komanski last year from Poland, running 21.04. Although Simon Hansen, 2071 windy, just over the legal limit at 2.4 meters per second back in 2022, is the fastest time that's ever been run at this meeting. Already seen some fantastic performances. Ben Richardson, look at who will actually be going in the second of the men's 200 meters, running 10.01 for a big meeting record in the 100 meters a little bit earlier. Can he make the 200-meter record history as we look at Konstantinos Duvalidis? Very popular figure in Greek athletics. Well, Duvalidis has been overtaken as the Greek number 1. He's still very much a man to be reckoned with in domestic races. Heliopoulos, who we beat on this occasion, was the man who wore the Greek vest at the European Team Championships. And Greece doing well, confirming their position in the top flight of the European Team Championships, which will be next held in 2027. No confirmed venue yet, but it's looking very likely as though it will be part of the European Olympic Games, which will be held in Istanbul. Of course, last weekend, if you were watching the European Athletics live streams and Eurovision Sport, it was 4 wonderful days of competition. Sam Bennett, comfortable winner there. Heliopoulos crashing through the barriers to his left, but Duvalidis still in fine form, capable of running sub 14 seconds. The man to his right. Bennett, though, the class act in the men's 110 metres hurdles. Good sharpener for Bennett. Coming over after a long US season, which always starts outdoors in April. So, with all the hurdles cleared from the track, it's now the turn of the men in the first of 2 200-metre races. Perhaps the men to look out for are Garakanis, set a personal best in the 100 metres. The Greek, who will be running in lane 4. And then the Argentinian record holder Juan Ignacio Chiampiti in lane 5 alongside him. Both men have run well under 21 seconds this year. There's Garikakanis. There's the Indian, Manakanta Poblidar, reduced his personal best recently to 20.91. The tall Indian in the yellow vest. Ran 10.53 earlier in the 100, but he's better known as a 200-metre runner. Still a big crowd here. Got about 45 minutes more action. 6 more races on the track. Of course, lots of people came for that thrilling long jump. Drama to the very last. They're staying. See nearest to the camera. Argentina's Franco Florio, Argentine 100 metres record holder, had a rather disappointing outing in the 100 metres earlier this evening. Garikaganis in the red vest. Poblidar. You can just see, just going through his final preparations. Man in the yellow vest. So on the outside, it's Florio Franco, Argentinian, who holds the national 100 metres record. Wearing purple, Slovak record holder at 2024, Jan Volko. Finished 5th in his 100 metres earlier this evening. Manakanta Poblidar, best of 2091 recently. There's the Lithuanian on the inside. Slight change in running order. So we saw Truskauskas of Lithuania, and then Garikaganis in lane 4, and on the inside Samueli Samuelsson, Finland's 100 metre record holder. So as they settle into the blocks, Samuelsson of Finland, Garikaganis of Greece, Truskauskas, Lithuania, Poblidar, India, Volko, Slovak Republic, and on the outside, Florio of Argentina. Florio's pulled up, but it's looking as though it's the tall Lithuanian Truskauskas who's leading into the home straight. Now, Truskauskas starting to pull away. He's having a really good run, the Lithuanian. Oh, good run from Truskauskas. Ran the anchor leg for the Lithuanian 4x100 metre squad last weekend in Madrid. And at 10.53, that's just outside his national record from 2021. Let's have a look at it again. We were looking at Truskauskas in the centre. On either side of him, Poblidar and Garaganis. Not really able to challenge the tall Lithuanian who powered his way around the bend. Hit the bend in front and just came through. Garaganis came through strongly over the final 70 or 80 metres. That might well be a new personal best as well. Having run 10.23 in the heats, the Greek Garaganis might well have got a second personal best tonight. As always, all my comments are predicated on it being a legal win. I hope you don't mind me repeating that. There's Truskauskas. Made it look easy, but he was just outside his national record, not far at all. Just waiting for confirmation of the times as the men in the A race come out. Been a slight resorting. Now, Garaganis. Well, there's been a few European athletics live streams over the course of the last few months, and we've seen quite a lot of Sotiros Garaganis. Always looks an affable character, always happy to give an interview, never seems to be too much out of breath. Certainly broke sweat there. 20.66 for Garaganis confirmed. So it is a personal best for the Greek. Two personal bests tonight. What a great evening he's having. Wind 0.5 metres per second. But I can confirm that Truskauskas 20.52. Just 400ths outside of his national record for the Lithuanian. He's had a good night's work as Sotiros Garaganis. Personal best in the 100 metres and 200 metres, but there was no stopping the tall Lithuanian Gabinas Truskauskas. Much better run for the Lithuanian than we saw in Madrid last week when he brought up the rear and finished 8th in the A race. Still got a few points for Lithuania, but it couldn't stop them going down to the second division in 2 years' time. Confirmation. Truskauskas of Lithuania winning in 20.52, and Sotiros Garaganis personal best of 20.66 for the Greek. So there's been a bit of a resorting of the athletes. Just seeing Belgium on the outside, Simon Verhersteiten. Just sorting his blocks out. Men to look out for in lane 5 and 6, the two South Africans. We saw Benji Richardson fly to that 100 metres victory and meeting record of 10.01 a little earlier. So there on the outside, it's Animesh Kujar, Indian record holder at 20:35, which he did early this season in Chindagarth. Set an Indian record of 10:18 earlier this evening in the 100 metres. Simon Verstappen. Verstappen, the Belgian record holder at 20:13. And he's inside. Benji Richardson. Richardson, a 1999 man. Quickly going through, we saw Bradley and Koana there. Ali Anwar Al-Balushi set a personal best in the 100 metres earlier. Batahan Altintas of Turkey. He's a late addition to this field. And then on the inside, we've got Avagostino of Cyprus and Sarinos Papadopoulos, the 22-year-old Greek. So keep an eye on Richardson. Just missed out on a medal at the World Junior Championships in 2022. But did take medals over the 100 metres in Nairobi and Cali. 2 consecutive World Under-20s. And it is Richardson, the tall figure of Benji Richardson in lane 6. He's absolutely powering around the bend. And now he's starting to pull away. Al-Balushi in lane 4 is having a good run. But it's going to be Benji Richardson who takes it by some considerable margin. Season's best for Richardson, unofficially 2023. Congratulations from his compatriot, Bradley and Koana, who's not been on the best of form here in Vari. But no doubt at all, this is a South African who's got a fantastic future. It's looking as though, from the sounds of things, that it's confirmed that it is a legal time. You can hear the infield announcer announcing it as a meeting record, absolutely smashing Albert Kamansky's record of last year, 21:04. Even quicker than Simon Hansen's windy 2071 from 3 years ago. Absolutely taking the meeting record apart. Well, Richardson is an exciting talent. Ran under 20 seconds last year, and I have a feeling it's just a matter of time this season before he does that again in 2025. Now confirmed as 2021 meeting record for Benji Richardson. So 2 meeting records on the trot for the South African. In the 100 metres, 10:01, and now 2021 in the 200 metres. Well, the breeze is dropping. There's still a bit of a cooling wind out there, which the audience and the athletes are very grateful for. There's Tentoglu breathing a sigh of relief. What was advertised record attempt on the Greek record of 8:66 turned into a real battle against a very, very surprising rival. He led through just 5 rounds, and it was only Tentoglu who jumped out to 8:19 in the final round. Saw him actually succeed at the last. So now the women out for the first of 200 metres, but there it's confirmed. Benji Richardson, 2021 meeting record. Ali Anwar Al-Balushi, the Omani athlete, Running well. That was a personal best for Al Barouchi. 20:51. Confirm that's also a national record for Al Barouchi. So, women's 200 metres, first of two races. Hold it up. Well, Miltiadis Tentoglu gives his view on proceedings. Well, I'll interpret his little hand movements as saying he had some issues with his run-up, getting it grooved in. Nevertheless, still managed to go out to 8:19 while struggling. I think it's fair to say he did struggle quite a bit during the course of the competition. Here's that winning effort, which in the end was the very last jump of the competition. Big smiles alongside him though from Nikolaos Stamatona-Nicholas. Just 22 years of age, and he's really advertised himself as a potential medal contender for those European Under-23 Championships. And just as a reminder, every single minute of the European Under-23 Championships will be shown on the European Athletics live streaming channels. Those European Under-23 Championships coming up in Bergen in Norway from the 17th to the 20th this month. But tomorrow we have another Greek meeting. We have the Athens pole vault competition coming to you from the Greek capital, just up the road. Just wonder whether any of these athletes will go along to watch that. I'm sure many of the spectators will. Athens meeting taking place tomorrow. This and that meeting, part of around 40 meetings being live streamed by European Athletics this summer. World Athletics Continental Tour, silver, bronze and challenger meetings. So, on the outside, in lane 8, in this first of two 200 metres, Eleni Yakovaki, 16 years of age. On her inside, 17-year-old Estathia Charalampidi. Ellen Runigan, saw her in action earlier on. 23-27 performer at best. Dimitra Sukali, fastest woman in this field on career best and current form. It's looking as though we're missing Rafaela Spanaduki Hatzarigi after a personal best earlier this evening in the 100 metres. Elif Polat in lane 3. A Mont on her inside, and then just checking to see whether Postolopou is on the inside. I don't think she is. Bit of a change. So Rønningen, the diminutive Norwegian in lane 6, the quickest away without a doubt. Being hunted down by Sukali. Now it's Sukali who's gone round her and has absolutely sped around her. Sukali now pulling away from Rønningen. Oh, what an outstanding run there from Sukali. $22.97 for Sukali. So a big personal best by her. She's been in terrific form. She's ran under 23 seconds, though, for the first time in her life. Just a few weeks ago, set a personal best of 23.25. And she was so quickly on the fast-starting Rønningen. And at 90 metres goes past the Norwegian on her outside. And at that point, everyone is left trailing in her wake. Dimitra Zukala. That's a terrific run from her. The women in the second race are going to have to work really hard to beat that time. Great form from Zukala, who's in the form of her life. Looking very pleased. But we've got Poloniki Emanuelidou coming up in the next race, the Greek number 1. Congratulations, though, for Zukala, now 25 years of age. Ran both relays in Madrid last weekend, as she didn't run any of the individual races. But her last individual 200 metres was a personal best of 23.25, and she just reduced that by going under 23 seconds. Confirmed time, 22.97. Well, that really does throw down the gauntlet. We had a few changes in the start list. And the long jumpers are still chatting. Now it's the turn of Nikolaos Stamatona-Nikolos. 8.14, fouled, but he improved his personal best by 27 centimetres and just decided to pass and see what Miltiadis Tentoglou could produce. In the end, Tentoglou did get past him, but it was a close-run thing. And as I said a few times during the London competition, I can't recall the last time Tentoglou was actually beaten by a domestic opponent. So, the last individual race of the evening. We've still got 2 relays to come, 2 4 by 100 metres. And this is a really classy women's 200 metres. Minka Bishops had that absolutely flying, but wind assisted 100 metres win earlier. Bishop's running 10.89, albeit with wind assistance. She beat off Lisa Mayer. So on the outside, Kyriaki Sawusi, 18 years of age. Now, this will be a great experience for her. Personal best recently of 24.53. Well, no Lena Mayer in lane 7 from the looks of things. This is Minka Bishops. Best of 22.87. Well, can Bishops, after that sparkling 100-metre run, challenge the meeting record. So we've got Christy Edwards of Australia. Manuel we saw in lane 3, who ran so well in the European Team Championships, anchoring the Greek relay team. Ivayenki and Evangelina Zigori, the two women on the inside lanes. So just to confirm the lineup from the inside, it's Zigori of Greece in lane 1, Yenki, South Africa 2, Emanuelidou of Greece 3, nobody in lane 4, that should have been Sophie Junk, Christy Edwards of Australia 5, Minka Bishops in 6, and then on the outside, Kyriaki Zawusi. And it is Bishops who's absolutely flying around the bend at the moment. She's been challenged by Edwards, but now Bishops starting to pull away. Running well, Emanuelidou in lane 3. We've expected her to come through with a late surge, but there's no doubt at all about it. Bishops comes through, 22:40. Well, that absolutely smashes the meeting record. Now, once again, we just wait for the wind reading. We've had a couple of windy races. For the previous meeting record, Ida Katarine Karstoft, Denmark, from 2022 at 22:76. And if that is legal, that's absolutely taken it apart. And she's just pulling away. She's just having an absolutely fantastic couple of weeks, Bishops. Personal best of 11:17, remember, in Madrid just over a week ago. That was over 100 meters, and she's absolutely smashed her personal best here. Came here with a personal best of 22:87. I'll tell you what, this is a woman who could well take the double at those European Under-23 Championships. And it's revised to 22:39. What a stunning result once again from Bishops. Still waiting for confirmation of the wind reading. This is the winner of the B race, Sukala. Now, the Greens have got some good sprinters at the moment. Emanuelidou doing well in that first race, although there was no holding Bishops there. Sukala coming through, running under 23 seconds the first time. Raffaella Spanudaki Hatsarigi, personal best in the 100 meters. Coming through strongly at 31 years of age to set a personal best in the 100. Just waiting for confirmation of those times as we look at Sukala coming home to win the B race. Very determined, good technique, powering all the way through the line. Nice shot there of the Vari Municipal Stadium where we're at. just 2 races remaining. Next action on the track comes up in a couple of minutes. The men's 4x100 metres. That'll be followed in very close order by the women's 4x100 metres. So the men's 4x100 metres. I do apologise, we haven't been given team lineups by the meeting organisers. However, I can tell you that we have 4 teams in this men's 4x100 metres. So we've got 2 Turkish teams there. Greek team in lane 3 and makeshift Indian team in lane 4. Just running a little bit behind time if you've been following the programme. Not very much though. This is a race that should have got off a few minutes ago. Still waiting for organisers to sort themselves out. So the relay teams just going through their final preparations. 4 teams out there. Lane 3, Greece. Lane 4, Turkey. Lane 5, the Reliance Foundation, which is essentially an Indian team. And lane 6, Turkey second team. And it looks like we're finally ready to go. As I said, unfortunately, we don't have team lineups coming to us, but there's the Turkey B team. Might be able to spot a few of the athletes. Finally, we can give you the lineups. The Indian team of Boy, Kuja, Dondapati and Singh. The Turkish A team of Ozkan, Ozer, Altintas, and on the anchor leg, Ramil Guliev. And the Greek team of Sarianos, Papadopoulos, Georgantis, Morphesis and Laginas. And the team that I missed out on the outside is the Turkish B team of Korkmaz, Kanbalat, Beyazel and Duran. Well, the Greeks' national record has been 38.61, which has been on the book since 1999. Pretty tall order, that. Turkey, 37.98, their national record from when they got the silver medal at the European Championships in Berlin. Just wondering whether the Indians can get close to their national record of 38.69, which came just a couple of months ago on home soil in Chandigarh. Second leg runner is Animesh Kujor, who reduced the Indian 100-meter record to 10.18 earlier this evening. So it is the Turkish A team Ertan Özkan handing over to Kayan Ozer. Ozer, the long back straight leg. Kuja trying to make up ground. He's handing over to Donapati. But it's the Turkish A-team. Altintas now, rounding the bend, handing over to the familiar figure of Remil Guliev, the former European 200-meter champion. Guliev's been given the glory leg down the home straight in the Vari Municipal Stadium, and he's powering away. 39.41. Of course, another target would have been perhaps, although it would have been a very tall order, to get below 38.20, which potentially would have put them in a qualifying position for the World Championships. It's pretty good performance that by the Nigerians, and on paper the Turks, despite putting out quite a quality team, didn't look as though they were going to be able to get close to that mark. But the Turks really practiced and well drilled. First two changeovers from Özkan to Ozer and then Ozer to Altintas. Slick baton passing. Indians doing well, but wasn't a great final changeover for them. And Ramil Guliev just running away with it. As we look at it again. Good third leg from Altintas. Very experienced international. Part of many good Turkish teams. I think he was on that Turkish record-setting team as well back in 2018. Congratulations all round. Yeah, there's the familiar figure of Kayan Ozer. So Turkey, comfortable winners in 39.40 from the Reliance Foundation, the Indian makeshift team, no disrespect to them, 39.99. And the women are out there for the very last event of this 8th edition of the Dromia International Sprint and Relay meeting. There's a good meeting record here from France, which dates back to 2023 of 43.99. To be fair, the Turkish men weren't too far away from France's meeting record from 2022 in the men's event at 39.38. So just 3 teams in this final 4x100 meters relay. 2 Greek teams, they're in lanes 4 and 6, and in between them will be Turkish outfit. Very good national records as well. Maybe the Turks, if they produce some baton changing as slick as their male counterparts, can challenge their record of 44.49, which came 3 years ago. So there's the Greek A team. Greek A team. It's got a couple of hurdlers in. Yosifidou and Camperidou. Just 3 teams in this concluding event of the 8th Dromia International. There's the Greek A team of Zaracosta. Sorry, that's on the outside. That's the B team of Zocanta, Antonatu, Senkala, and the young teenager Sausi. We saw there the Turkish team of Akay, Kologlu, Ceylan, and Polat. And this is on the inside. This is the Greek A team, and I have to say, possibly the favourites, with Alkoyani Zaracosta with the baton in her hand. She'll be handing over to Sofia Iosifidou, Alana Bern, and Sofia Kamparidou. Oh, indeed, it is just the 2 Greek teams. I don't know what quite happened to the Turks there. So, no surprise, the Greek A team, Zaracosta handing over to Iosifidou. It's a good outing for the Greek A team. Iosifidou running a good second leg there, handing over to Bern. She'll hand over to Kamparidou. Kamparidou, well, it was a pretty poor changeover, but there was no real challengers. Kamparidou with that rather stuttering running style coming through. Good effort, even though it was a bit of a time trial from the Greeks. 45.18 unofficially. And it is confirmed at 45.18. So, Zofia Kamparidou, having got close to her personal best in the 100 metres hurdles, brings the Greek A team home. We'll just see a replay of that race. Well, that's a good changeover between Zaracosta and Iosifidou. Iosifidou showing her speed on the long second leg. Alana Bern. Powerful 100-metre runner. Takes the third leg and then hands over to Sofia Kamparidou, the 22-year-old. And Kamparidou brings the Greek number 1 team home in front of their counterparts, the Greek B team. So, good practice there for the season ahead. Greece not going to be represented in either of the 2 sprint relays, it looks like, at the World Championships coming up in September in Tokyo, but nevertheless, always useful. There's plenty of regional games coming up. It's possible Kamparidou will be brought into action for the Greek relay team coming up at the European Under-23 Championships. Nice smiles to conclude this 8th edition of the Dromia International Sprint and Relays meeting. We've had some terrific competitions. That dramatic long jump, as we see there, the result of the women's 4x100 metres won by the Greek A team in 45.17. Miltiadis Tentoglu at the last, winning with 8.19. A superb 100 metres from Benji Richardson, the championship record of 10.01. And a great double from Minka Bishops, winning in a windy 10:89, and then a personal best, a big personal best and championship record of 20:39. I hope you enjoyed our coverage of this meeting coming to you from Vari in the suburbs of Athens. It's time for me, Phil Minchell, to say goodnight. But before I go, just remember there's another meeting coming to you from Greece tomorrow, the Fly Athens meeting. So look out for all the details on the European Athletics website. Thank you and good night.